We continue to preview the 2025 college volleyball season. Our stop today is Marshall, Missouri, as we get to visit with Nicole Murphy, heading into her second season as the head volleyball coach for the Missouri Valley Vikings. Coach, thank you for taking time with us today as we look back to 2024 really quickly. 16-16 overall. It's the most wins for the program since 2018, and that was a team that took a trip to the NAIA tournament. So congratulations to you for getting the program back in the right direction there. Talk a little bit about 2024 in the season.
Yeah, honestly, we came out guns blazing. It was really an awesome start to a year. And, looking at the huge wins we accomplished kind of, early, middle of the season, I really, really thought that we would finish a lot higher in conference than we did. Coming into this job, I had no idea what to expect because I didn't recruit any of the girls. And so I was just kind of dealing with what I had, which I'm used to doing. But we started out really strong. We made some adjustments in the lineup. And then unfortunately an injury with one of our best players in the Mount Mercy game last season kind of, put a roadblock on our season. And it kind of took a little bit of a downhill slope right there in the middle. But, I still think they, held their own and still finished strong. Like you said, 16-16, not horrible. It was better than the year before. And so, of course, I would want more wins than that. And that's our goal for this year. But not a bad season. I was proud of them. I was proud of, them handling a coaching change again, proud of them handling an injury in the middle of the season. That was a huge impact player for us. And I think they all stepped up and did their part.
You talked about the wins being a goal. I'm going to ask about that too. As a coach on the high school level, I mean, you've helped some programs there in that area and around Missouri make turnarounds. And I wanted to hear about your ideas or goals for Missouri Valley when you got there. What are the goals in making a turnaround like that? Obviously, wins is one of them, but can you address that?
Yeah, I mean, the high schools I've turned around, it's just getting all of the players that you have on board there to just buy in to what you're selling, basically. I drive a hard work ethic. I love to be competitive, and I show up every day, and I need my players and my kids to do that. And, once the high schools figured it out, they turned their programs around. They bought in. We were winning together. It was great. It was a good family atmosphere. And, it's the same way in college, just a little different because I'm choosing the athletes that are coming to me instead of, high school where, those athletes, they just go through the school. And that's who you have here. I get to pick and choose those athletes that are going to help turn that program around. And so, that's what I really was looking for this next season, since I didn't have any say in that really with my first season here. And so, picking those athletes that are going to fit into what I want to mold the program into, which is hopefully success in the future. Because again, we like to win. I like success. And, I'm used to that from where I played in college, and I'm used to that and what I've experienced in coaching.
Well, I want to talk about that recruiting aspect here in just a moment. But for the players that you had last year and the team you had, there was some success again, taking it back the right direction. 3 players on the team named Anna, so I didn't know if that was any kind of confusion for you there because they all seem to get some time. One of those is a player that's coming back for you this year, Anna Franco, who was a libero for you, had 4.27 digs per set, an all-heart conference performer. Talk a little bit about her play then and how this will help for the upcoming season.
Yeah, so she actually had never played libero for the program ever before. And so I look for kind of, an attitude and a personality with that position. And so she kind of stuck out to me from the beginning, and I kind of molded her into a libero last year. And it's kind of funny when I talk about that because I was a middle hitter. What do I know about passing? But I kind of look for that personality, and she was just spunky and ready to learn and ready to give everything she had to that position and learning it. And she did really well. She surpassed my expectations. And speaking of injuries, she did kind of have a foot surgery right after season. She had a little bit of I believe it was a stress fracture in her foot. And so she's already back kind of playing already in our spring practices. And so, she's doing well. She was a little bit slower towards the end. Once we hit conference tournament time, she definitely couldn't move to her left very well because of her foot, but she still gave it her all and had that surgery right after season was over. And so we're happy to return her as, a senior with some senior leadership, and just that awesome personality. Like I said, she's just so full of energy. She makes everybody just want to be there.
We're visiting now with Coach Nicole Murphy from Missouri Valley. I don't know why it's been hard to say Missouri Valley so far over the course of the day, Coach. I'll get it out. Anyway, and looking to the recruiting side of it now, and talking about, you get to handpick these players that are coming in. Well, from last year to this year, there are going to be some gaps. I mean, you graduated a number of seniors who were outsides and middles. You look through your roster from last year, and a lot of those names that had senior beside it were outsides or middles there. And I know that has to be a focus, I would imagine, for recruiting this season. And of course, some other players that are still there that are going to rise up among the ranks. But tell us a little bit about the recruiting and who you might see there at the outside.
Yeah. So good news is we had quite a few girls who were injured but in recovery last season. And so the year before, when Coach Cooper was here, they had about 3 or 4 really, really impact players go down for them, in big moments and big games. I know against CMU was one of them, and they weren't sure if they were going to play again. And then with the coaching change and with me coming in, they really liked the kind of breath of fresh air and they liked my coaching style. And so I do have 4 girls who were injured that are returning off of injury. And so they're kind of getting slowly back into practice right now in spring season, and it's looking promising. And so those 4 girls are going to be impact players for us this next season. And so one of them is an outside, one of them is a middle, one of them is a right side, and then actually 2 of them are middles. So
there you go. Well, all right. I know that's going to make a lot of difference too. That was an area in looking over your season last year, weren't high in the conference ranks in blocks. Or digs, and I'm sure someone who played that spot too. That has to be a focus for you. There's another area too, and you have to you look at this. You ran a 6.2 last year. The setters who were operating that are both gone, so that's another area that you have places to fill. How's that coming along? Recruiting and or other players coming?
Recruiting. We are bringing in another setter from a JUCO, and I'm really excited about her. She brings some, knowledge from just being an international player, but also, setting at a high level at her JUCO. But then also we have Kellen Fitzgerald, who was a freshman for us last year, who finally got some court time around the end of our season last year. She was on VR. We brought her up about halfway through the season, and she's really just excelling a lot right now. And so she's getting full-time setting right now in spring season because our other setters are not here right now. And so she's stepping up. And so we did have a couple DSs as well last year because we had so many setters. I moved into a more defensive specialist role that were setters originally. And so they're getting setting reps now as well, just to kind of, make sure they can pass, make sure they can set, be more of those utility players that we might possibly need if we run a 6.2 next year. Would love to run a 5.1. I'm a big fan of 5.1s just because I was a middle. I love running behind. I love the slide, and we didn't necessarily get to do that as much in a 6.2. But hopefully it might be something we see a lot this year for us.
Well, it sounds like, your program may benefit from the spring as much as anyone. You've got kids returning from surgery, kids returning and recovering, kids that are, moving from one position to another. I don't know of a program, anyone I've spoken to yet here in the spring that is going to need and may benefit from this spring practice as much as you all.
Yeah, and we're not doing really any huge tournaments or anything like that just because we are recovering from all those injuries. But what's nice is that if we do run like more positionals or, smaller practices, that I can really see kind of, what their skills are, that the kids that are returning that I didn't get to see at first. I heard things. I heard, oh, this player was really good for you guys. Hopefully she comes back. And I've heard that from other coaches, and from what I've seen, they're not lying to me. It's accurate. We just hope they can stay healthy all of 2025.
Well, speaking of 2025, let's go there right now. Of course, a Hart Conference schedule that is on the way, but you all get things started pre-conference, heading to Sioux City. It's always a great place. I'm sure you want to be in Sioux City at the end of the season as well. In the Siouxland Invitational, though, in the pre-conference end of it, and you're also going to be hosting a Labor Day tournament too. Talk about your schedule.
Yeah, so I'm excited to go to the Sioux City tournament. I've never been a part of that one as a player. I've been to Sioux City, just never in the beginning of the season. And so I'm excited about that one. They've got a lot of teams that we won't normally see, over the year. And so I made sure whenever I was entering into a tournament, it would be teams that, wouldn't be in our conference or we wouldn't see in our normal season. And so I'm excited about that. The schedule's not out yet, but they did promise that, we won't put you against anybody in your conference, and that's perfect. And then going into our tournament as well, I'm pulling teams I've got a team from Dallas coming up. We've got John Brown coming as well. We've got 10 teams coming to this tournament that I'm hosting, which is way larger than anything they've hosted here before. It's been about 5 teams that they've brought in. And so, playing in the NAIA and having those connections, I was able to reach out and grab quite a few teams from multiple different conferences to represent and, kind of meet here and face up and have really good competition here in Marshall. And so that'll be something, if you're bored and you want to come out on Labor Day weekend, it'll be very entertaining. So.
That sounds like fun. Okay, well, we may have to pencil in a trip to Marshall over the week. We'll check on that one, but that sounds like a lot of fun. Coach, thank you so much for taking time, and we're looking forward to following the Vikings this season in your second season at the helm. Their success, and congratulations for the success for the first year, but I know you're pushing for even more. Coach Nicole Murphy from Missouri Valley, thank you for taking time with us today here on the Summit.
Thank you so much.